Hey friends, before we jump into today's story, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you won't miss more content like this. The study in our family's massive estate felt unusually tense as my parents and siblings gathered around the polished oak table for what my mom called an urgent family financial meeting. Late afternoon sunlight streamed through the tall windows, spreading a golden glow across rows of leather-bound books and oil paintings that echoed generations of wealth and tradition. My brother Michael leaned back confidently in his tailored suit, fresh from an intense business trip to London. My sister Rachel kept fidgeting with her pricey handbag and stole quick glances at her designer watch, clearly impatient. Meanwhile, I stayed at the far end in a simple sweater and jeans, deliberately casual compared to the parade of luxury that surrounded me. At 28, I was the family's odd one out, choosing to run a nonprofit instead of following their prestigious routes into finance, law, or corporate power. Dad cleared his throat with the gravity he saved for serious business. Before we begin, he said firmly, understand that this is about financial responsibility and ensuring this family's security for the future. Mom nodded, spreading neatly organized reports across the shining wood. We've been reviewing our yearly support costs, and major adjustments must be made. The current system is unsustainable. Michael leaned forward smoothly, projecting the confidence of a corporate negotiator. The numbers speak for themselves. Our family assistance has skyrocketed, and it's time to enforce accountability, especially for those who don't show proper appreciation for the help they received. Rachel glanced toward me before adding coldly, some people need to start owning their choices. I stayed quiet, fully aware that my $45,000 nonprofit salary had painted me as the target of this intervention. What none of them realized was that my modest pay and lifestyle were intentional, a shield hiding something far more complex and far more powerful. Dad continued, skimming his notes with practiced authority. The emergency fund is being drained, rent bailouts, car fixes, unexpected bills. This dependency must end. Mom's expression hardened as her eyes locked onto mine. Certain members of this family lean too heavily on our wealth instead of building true independence. The accusation hung in the study, heavy and suffocating, like a scent too sharp to ignore. I could feel their judgment circling, closing in, setting up what was clearly a carefully rehearsed ultimatum. Michael spoke next, his tone dripping with condescension. Your nonprofit work is admirable in theory, but it doesn't give you the stability someone your age should already have. You need a career that supports a real adult lifestyle. Rachel chimed in, her voice cool and sharp. These constant requests for help stop today. That kind of support just prevents growth and keeps you irresponsible. They pressed on, laying out their strategic tough love plan for how I would supposedly repair my financial habits. I quietly picked at the salad in front of me, working hard to hide the bitter amusement I felt at their words. Then Mom made the declaration official. Effective immediately, no more financial support unless it's a true emergency. No rent assistance, no car repair money, no subsidies for extras. Her words echoed through the room, bouncing off first edition books and ancestral portraits, silent witnesses. Do you have a response to these new financial terms? Dad asked, clearly waiting for some gesture of thanks for what he believed was stern but necessary discipline. I smiled faintly and tapped denied on all four of their pending requests. Almost instantly, the smug looks across their faces began to crack. Actually, I said evenly, placing my phone face down on the table, it seems there's some confusion about how our family finances are structured. Before anyone could fire back, the door to the study opened. A composed woman in a tailored suit stepped inside, leather briefcase in hand, her expression polite but purposeful. Miss Thompson, she announced smoothly, I'm Patricia Williams from Whitman Trust Management. My apologies for interrupting your family discussion, but I urgently need your signature on the quarter-end trust documents. A ripple of bewilderment ran through the room as Patricia walked directly toward me instead of Dad, who had already risen, assuming he would, as always, be the point of contact for serious financial matters. Excuse me, Dad said, with his usual authoritative tone, but I handle all trust business here. Any paperwork should be addressed to me. Patricia looked genuinely taken aback. I'm afraid that's not the case, Mr. Thompson. Emily has been the controlling trustee and financial administrator of the family trust since her 25th birthday. All decisions regarding distributions or portfolio management are hers. The room dropped into silence, broken only by the steady tick of an antique clock in the corner. That's impossible, Michael stammered. Emily works for a nonprofit. She doesn't have the credentials or legal standing to manage a trust. Patricia calmly opened her briefcase and pulled out a stack of official papers. In fact, Miss Thompson obtained her financial planning certification and formal trust administration license 3 years ago. Since then, she has overseen the portfolio with consistent success. Mom's face drained of color. What portfolio? She whispered. Patricia checked her files. The Thompson Family Trust, established by your late father. Current valuation approximately $23.7 million. Its design provides monthly distributions to all family members at the trustee's discretion. The realization swept across the room like a slow shockwave, from bafflement to dawning horror. The monthly allowances you each receive, I reminded them softly, come from the trust. From my trust management. This is absurd, Rachel snapped, though her voice wavered. We would have been told about something so huge. Patricia lifted a certified copy of the trust agreement. The documents clearly state, authority passes to the youngest child upon reaching 25, with the expectation that he or she supports the family at their discretion. Dad's hands shook as he scanned the text, confirming the truth. This says Emily Thompson has had sole discretionary authority as trustee for 3 years. I nodded. All this time, I've been the one overseeing your allowances, investments, and distributions while you assumed I was barely scraping by at my nonprofit job. My phone lit up again, First National Private Banking flashing across the screen. I answered, holding Dad's panicked stare. Miss Thompson, this is David Chin, the voice said smoothly. We've received your denials on the monthly family payouts. Should we freeze the related accounts? Yes, I replied calmly. Put every transfer on hold until I review and approve them. Understood. All automatic distributions are now suspended, he confirmed. I hung up and took in the stunned looks around me. That was the bank, I explained. Your monthly stipends are formally paused. Monthly stipends? Mom whispered. Patricia, checking her tablet, read aloud without hesitation. Michael Thompson receives $15,000 per month for business and personal expenses. Rachel Thompson receives $12,000 for lifestyle costs. Mrs. Eleanor Thompson receives $8,000 for discretionary household spending. And Mr. Charles Thompson receives $18,000 for living and personal use. The amounts thundered in their ears, each figure landing like a direct blow. This is outrageous, Dad burst out. But his tone carried fear more than authority. Even if the paperwork is valid, I built this family's fortune. My credit cards were suddenly declining. The spa booking, the shopping trip, every transaction failed. That's the natural result when automatic payments are suspended, I explained calmly. Exactly what you wished would happen to me. My phone buzzed again. Another call from the trust investment office. Miss Thompson, this is Jennifer Walsh from Portfolio Management. We need to address the real estate holdings. Should we keep covering property taxes and upkeep for the family properties? I glanced around the study. This very estate included, plus the vacation homes, rental investments, and commercial buildings. Every one of them tied to the trust, each requiring active maintenance. I set the call on speaker. Jennifer, what if funding for property expenses is cut off? Tax delinquencies would start within 60 days, she replied. Then lapses in maintenance, insurance cancellations, and eventual foreclosures on any leveraged properties. My mother went pale. This estate is held by the trust, Patricia, our advisor, confirmed. For 3 years, Emily has personally covered all household costs, upkeep, and living expenses. My father scrambled, frantically calling his banker and accountant. I overheard broken phrases, trust documents, successor clauses, Emily's authority, like fragments of a crumbling empire. The very people so eager to stop supporting me, I said, watching their panic set in, are only now realizing they've been fully supported by me all along. Another call came through. this time from the Household Management Service. Miss Thompson, payroll is due tomorrow for the staff, housekeepers, gardeners, and maintenance crew. Do we process it? I looked directly at my horrified family. Put all staff payments on hold until we complete a full budget review. Understood, the caller replied. We'll notify the staff their employment is under evaluation. Rachel's eyes blurred with tears. Emily, you can't dismiss the staff. Mom relies on them. The house can't function without them. The same way I supposedly couldn't function without family support until 15 minutes ago, I answered. What was it Mom said? Time to sink or swim like any other adult? Meanwhile, Michael's business phone kept erupting. Vendors, clients, and partners all learning that his funding pipeline had frozen. Emily, please, Dad finally begged, his commanding tone gone. We can fix this. We're family. We are, I agreed evenly. And as family, I've been shouldering your lives for 3 years, without complaint, without acknowledgement, right up until today when you tried to cut me off from resources you never actually controlled. Patricia handed me a financial report. The trust has flourished under your leadership. 18% annual growth, diversified portfolios, well-balanced distributions. Balanced, until now, I corrected. The model assumed family unity and respect. Those assumptions clearly need revision. Every eye in the room widened with recognition. Their comfort sat on the shoulders of the very person they had demeaned and dismissed. Even the portraits on the wood-paneled walls seemed to take note of the shift. Here's what happens next, I announced evenly. Monthly stipends will change with new accountability standards. Dad, $12,000 per month, but you'll submit expense reports. Mom, $6,000 with oversight on discretionary use. Michael and Rachel, $8,000 each, subject to quarterly reviews. Michael exploded. That won't cover our costs. Then you'll adjust your lifestyle to your income, I replied coolly. The same advice you loved giving me. Patricia slid over the revised trust agreement. I'm also mandating financial counseling and budget training for every beneficiary. Rachel burst out sobbing. Counseling? You're treating us like children. No, I said firmly. Like adults who still need to learn fiscal responsibility. Precisely what you told me I lacked. Dad's eyes were blank as he stared at the trust ledger. But what about this house? Our home. It will be preserved, I answered, so long as beneficiaries uphold respect and gratitude. Hostility toward the trustee may trigger reviews of housing allowances. Mom gripped my arm. Emily, we're truly sorry for what we said. We didn't understand the reality. Well, now you do, I replied gently. And from now on, the documents reflect the truth, not your assumptions about who provides for whom.